And we're live.
Yeah. What's good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy WordPlay TJ.
And this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all.
We are back.
We had a normal intro.
Yeah, very normal. Very
Thank
normal
you.
this week.
So this week we're going to be introducing and reviewing a single by Lupe Fiasco. It's called Samurai. It's off his next album that's going to be also called Samurai. So June 28th is the release date for his upcoming album, Samurai, produced exclusively by Soundtrack.
Hey, we back.
Soundtrack was also instrumental in his 2020 mixtape called Tape with 2 songs on it that I just like bumped repeatedly because it felt like the summertime. I actually went back and listened to it, and I want that Lupe for an entire album. Auto-tune Lupe is pretty lit.
I agree. Auto-tune Lupe is lit because lasers is a thing, and I appreciate lasers more.
Wait a minute.
Yep. I went
Go
there.
home.
I went there, man. It's way better, I think, the further we get from it than it was in the time expecting what we were expecting.
The tape version of Auto-tune Lupe is the best version because he's worked out all the kinks.
I agree. I'm just saying, you
You just brought up lasers, and we should just throw it out the window. And speaking of a jazzy version of Lupe, this is the essence and vibe of Samurai. So what I think we should do is take a listen to the entire thing for the audio listeners. For the video folks, we're going to skip through and get back to commentating about this. So take a moment, pause the video, go listen to it yourself, and then come back and see what we say. So this is going to be Lupe Fiasco's Samurai. We watched the music video as we were listening, and so there's some things that we should take a second to unpack. But so what order do you want to go in?
I was gonna say, I want to knock out the video real quick. The video itself made me not like the song. A lot of times and with these kind of videos, it was hard for me to get what the song was about. And because he's had a string of Lucy's that I'm like, okay, these are cool, but these are very light in terms of the Lupe that I'm normally looking for. The video just kind of confused me because I wouldn't have got what the song was about until I can just sit in my Lupe mode of being in the car, listening to the song. And I was like, oh, because I should have been able to pick up what this song was about immediately, because in his storytelling efforts, he is way underrated, because I think his storytelling sounds more like you're reading George Orwell or 1984 or something like that.
I think the music video is accentuating exactly what his purpose is for releasing this song right now. And I think his purpose for releasing this song is not for the sake of, this might be on the project. It sounds like an intro.
Yeah, it is the first song.
Knowing that this is an intro, this is not supposed to be the main event. So that this video, not the main event. This song, not the main event. It's not even that important story-wise.
I see that. I also see the more so to emphasize your point, the wielding of the way he uses his words. And initially when I listened to it, I thought that the first verse and the second verse were disjointed, and didn't have a connecting point, and they were just kind of showing his skill. About the second listen, like I said, when I got to listen in the car, it was more easily to attain all the things that I was looking for, right? And I don't know. I just really love this story of an artist in the city.
So let's start with the story. Let's figure out what the first verse is telling us about this story. So the scene is, binoculars through looking at this opera from a distance. So what else is this story telling us?
Blue-eyed person, and they're sitting there intaking the song, right? Mm-hmm. And then thinking about like that is such a good level of where that person wants to reach because it's designed to raise eyelids of blind men, saved assignments. Meaning you feel it even if you can't see what's going on, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
So and I was thinking about that in terms of like, because then he goes into the with warm regards and age kindness for today's climate. So also meaning that it is for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's something that is a universal, this is good music. And then he goes back to kind of like, I think, explaining the scene a little bit of, as I'm thinking about it, because he was like in the vein of gang violence meets the gang's demises and it bang. Maybe if I'm thinking about that from a different perspective, it could also mean that it was a rap concert.
I mean, it could be, but they're just by the opera house. They're not necessarily in it. So what if they're battling
I thought about that too.
on the street?
Yeah.
On the street, just
Yeah.
spitting bars next to each other. And that's what's being witnessed.
Yeah.
The hard part about his verse and the verse is in this situation, where when Lupe gives you a very simple bar, and then he follows the simple bar with more similes that explain the simple bar a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
This is a whole song of that extra stuff. But there's no setup there's a little bit of setup for the scene, but it doesn't explain it in a way that this is one of those dumb it down moments.
And I thought about that, especially once he got to we just get into it, like rising like wings on a plane plus a pilot who can fly into the eye of a hurricane, Iris. Mm-hmm. And immediately, like I'm hearing dumb it down, I'm hearing the coolest.
Right.
All at once, and I'm like, are you referencing? My brain went immediately, are you referencing them?
Yeah.
Probably not.
No, but I think he's doing the same thing that he does. All right. This is a robot, and you're about to pilot it through the streets.
Yeah.
What's difficult about this is that I don't think he's saying something at the same time that I don't think he's saying anything. I don't think he's saying anything, and I don't think he wants the audience to think he's saying anything.
I think so too, but and we'll get into the second verse because that's why I think the first verse was so confusing for me initially until I like got the reference of, oh, it's a person looking at this and listening. Because then you get into the end where it comes back to what you were saying, which is where he goes to the simple, easy to grasp metaphor, where he's like top hats and coats, tuxedos and throats where the bow tie posts. Folks look past the lower class blower of the notes into unspoke jokes as they approach. Which, she'd never be inside or in that group, but she hopes.
Right. So this paints the scene a little bit more.
Yeah.
Somebody is witnessing somebody singing on the street next to the opera house. She's never going to be talented enough to actually get into that house, so to speak.
Yeah.
Or at least they think. Which is
the
the upper class never is thinking, looking at this person saying, you're not going to be talented enough to get in here. Why this story?
I don't know. That's the part that I'm like trying to figure out. Because like I said, when we get into the second verse, it'll tell us like a specific location.
But take a guess. Why this story?
I thought that it was just to set up like the starving artist because he likes to talk about artistry. If you think about Mural, if you think about Mural Jr.
That was a Mural Jr.?
On Drill Music in Zion.
Come on, get out of it. Go again.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, but
yes, but so he takes art and creates these like interwoven scenes of like the actual artist and how the art lives. And so I think the story itself is trying to tell the story of like a starving artist and that kind of viewpoint. And I think how that juxtaposes to himself.
Yeah, and I was going to say that it feels like a lot of him in this. I look at the upper class like regular rap fans. You see what I'm saying?
I can see that. Yeah.
Because in the chorus, he's saying like, I got this thing. It's really neat. And it's beautiful. Like, it's beautiful. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you don't even care about this beautiful thing that I'm holding. And so I assume that these folks that are like walking past and holding up their nose to this thing are the listeners that believe that they shouldn't even give this the time of day. The folks on Twitter that call this like sleepy music.
But are the same people who are caring about lyrics in the Kendrick and Drake beef? Them people, those guys.
Yeah, but I think the reason why they do that is because they don't want to think.
Nah, bruh. Y'all.
I believe that. I believe wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
As time goes on, this is my one old man quote of the episode.
Oh man, quotes.
As time goes on, I believe that our attention span and our desire to think critically deteriorates with the advent of technology. Technology, we want technology to think for us, to tell us our opinion. Mm-hmm. And that technology, we want our social circles to give us our opinions too. That's a very easy way to walk through life. And so that work that we have to do to intelligently unpack what's happening here, or unpack what's happening in a very in a more metaphoric situation. To Pimp a Butterfly is a good example of that.
Yeah.
People are gonna like shit all over the things that take a little bit of work to unpack.
I agree.
Meanwhile, they all turn 30 and start heading to the church. So like
I felt a shot, but I was already in the church. What's crazy about it to me is because he already has like the track list out. And to your point, the song directly following this, which I was like laughing at, is titled Mumble Rap. Mm-hmm. And if we're setting the stage in the way that I think that we are for like how listeners engage with the music and creating like characters like Lupe has done before to be the metaphors or the analogies, I should say, of those people. So if the hoity-toity people are, like you said, the common fan, if the artist that is a little bit deeper is the starving artist that is trying to get their music out there, it just takes a little bit, has a little bit more understanding that you have to do, then I think this is going to be a good ride.
Yeah. So what is verse number 2 getting at?
Verse number 2 is then the day in the life of this person that he talked about in the first verse. Mm-hmm. So he's like, the unamplified fantasized land of the soon-to-be fans of the samurai. Smile wide, got the panorama camera vibe. If you analyze, if you're like looking at her, she's a one-woman gala glamorized, just without the glamour or the galatize. So she has all the talent.
Without
all
the outfit, yeah. Right? Without the look.
Met them all live with the jazz guys eating piano pies at the Vanguard. Meaning she works at the place that
he was working hard for that slant rhyme.
She was. That she works at the place that she also performs at. And then she was like a couple dollars in the band jar, buys a half a turkey Sam organic and his hand carved. This was the funniest part to me. He's like, if you ask for a piece, freshly laugh for singing jazz in the streets, and the staff asks for police. So like, I feel like it's this double entendre to somebody like coming up being funny and being like, pressing her while she's performing. Like, this ain't that kind of performance, champ. And then after that, it says, crashed at a friend's flat for a week, felt at home as a raft on a beach, lit a fag, took a drag, took a tea, read a book, took a bath, and went to sleep. And this is that line in and of itself is where it clued me into like, oh, I get where you are. Like, you have to be in Europe somewhere.
Yeah, London.
Yeah. Specific. And I just found that like really cool to kind of get this outward view where initially I was like, oh, he has to be talking about like Chicago again.
I think the title of the song, the title of the album may be wildly misleading when it comes to what we're going to expect.
Same, because I did not think that this as a title track was going to sound this way and bear like the name of the album, because normally I feel like he's way more on the head, but this felt more like he named it after and like used maybe that first part of his verse, like the first line when he was talking about a samurai, and was like, yeah, I can go more into this. Because otherwise, I currently, like, without the full album, don't see the thread, but I'm hoping to.
Yeah, and I think this is, to your point, one of those pieces where you just absolutely need the whole thing in order to make it make sense. And to my point, I think this is out just to tease that I'm putting an album out. He's drawing some attention to it because throughout all of this noise that's happening right now, how do you cut through like a samurai?
I appreciate it. I'm excited for the album. I'm ready for it to come out. What do you guys think about Samurai? Let us know down in the comments. Did you enjoy the single? Are you excited for a new Lupe album? I know that I am. How do you feel about this Lupe album? Are you excited for this?
If it's ratchet, yeah. What? I just did a whole you did. I closed the loop.
Anyway, we appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get notified for every time that we go live. We'll see y'all in the next piece. A 1 and a 2 and peace.